Hey folks, welcome back to another Gambit update. We've got your news for the week of, well, it's Tuesday, so June 21st.
Yeah.
I'm Andrew Essig.
Sean Crocker.
Welcome back, Sean. We had a little competition this weekend.
We did. We
did well,
yeah,
I think.
I think, yeah.
I mean,
better than expected.
We had fun and we did fitness, so
Yeah.
that means we did well.
Absolutely.
So a few things. Right off the bat, we'll talk about that. We're actually going to talk about competition more in the Stratagem podcast, which we'll shoot right after this. So if you're interested in talking more about that, we want to talk all about that competition, our experience, and all the ups and downs, ins and outs of competing at our level, not like the games level, I would say.
Yeah, I don't have experience at the games level, so I can't comment on that.
But competing at at a realistic level, we'll talk about that in the podcast. So tune in for that if you're interested. Quick items of note for Gambit Fitness. Our functional strength cycle is wrapping up next week. That's been a pretty cool experience. Have you been participating in
as much as I can?
Most of it.
I got, with traveling out to Egan and a couple things here and there, I got behind, which is always
But how's your experience been?
Great. I mean, I love hitting some of those movements that we don't generally see in kind of a functional fitness setting, whether we're going for time or competing, things like that, and just general CrossFit. So it's nice to kind of touch base with those things, build some better resiliency within the bodies and the joints, and kind of hit some more isolated muscle group movements. Yeah.
So what I've noticed, and I always wish I did a better job of like getting before and after photo. Like I literally was going to take pictures of people's or video of people's squats before and after the cycle. But in talking to people, what's interesting is like a couple people said, "Oh, my knees feel really good, less knee pain, less warm up." What I noticed from going to the competition last weekend was I barely needed to warm up my squat. Where like 2 years ago, even 3 years ago, like as soon as I hit 35, it was like I needed a solid 15 or 20 minutes to kind of warm up, and I wasn't the type of person who could, even though I was good at squatting and I had a relatively, I could still squat 400 pounds or so. I wasn't the type of person that could just roll out of bed and bust out 10 air squats to perfect depth. And I feel like I'm a little more in that spot now where my warm-ups just kind of consisted of, during the competition, just general warm-ups, so I didn't have to like prepare my knees.
Yeah, I don't think any of us really did a whole lot of stuff. Like, and anyone that's been to our classes, like we spend a lot of time warming up, doing a lot of skill work, things like that. We just didn't have the ability to do that in the comp because the warm-up area was relatively small. There's a lot of teams. The host of the competition even said, please don't take 45, 50 minutes, an hour
wait
to
till
warm
the
up.
last.
Like wait until the heat before yours to get in.
So it's cool. Like I was talking with a couple, like Dylan Steedman. I was like, you do all this homework, this functional strength stuff, and then you don't really need to do it before the class. You're kind of like ready to do it, which is really interesting. It kind of carries over. So that's been really interesting, and what I'm seeing is just much better movement out of people. So definitely looking forward to hearing more about what people think about the functional strength cycle, and probably running another one at some point, and seeing how much use, like Suzanne was asking about a slant board, and I said that we got 3 slant boards, and I was kind of like, I'm either thinking about, like right now I feel like I should build 2 or 3 more for use, but like once this functional strength cycle is over, we're either going to see them getting used a lot, or they're just going to gather dust in the corner. And I'm anxious to see what how much this kind of carries over.
Some of those more specific pieces.
So that's that functional strength cycle. If you participate in the functional strength cycle, or you were interested in it and kind of missed out on it, so let us know in the comments if you want to see more of that, and what you want to see more of specifically. Moving on from there into kind of more of the programming side of things, we're talking about a possible cycling cycle with Brian Sullivan. He's our endurance expert. I don't know if you were in on this.
Like a bicycling, not like a barbell cycle.
Yeah, like a road cycle, road cycling. I think we talked about this a little bit, but you don't have briefly. A road cycle. Do you? Do you have a road?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Like a bicycle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have a mountain bike, though?
No, it's like a road bicycle.
Yeah. So I'm more into the mountain biking side of things. I do have a road bike, so I would be kind of interested in doing that. We're thinking about, there's a 100 kilometer race that he's targeting in October, I believe. but it's a 100 kilometer or a 100 mile race. So the idea is you'd kind of participate in a kind of a training cycle once or twice a week leading up to that, then participate in one of those, probably the 100K if I had to take my take my choice. I'm not even sure how long it takes to cycle 100 miles. It seems like a lot.
Oh man,
it's got to be a full day.
It's got to be. I think averaging a road bike like a pretty decent pace is about 16 miles an hour. So you kind of extrapolate that to.
It takes you like 2 hours to drive 100 miles.
Right.
In a car.
Right.
So anyway, again, let us know in the comments if you're interested in that. We did put a survey up in the members group to see who'd be on board with that. We're not actually doing signups yet. We're just kind of testing the waters to see if it's something we would kind of like officially execute on.
Yeah.
So let one of us know. Let us know in the comments.
I need to look at how much it would cost to get Gambit bike suits. Beside the point. Beside the point.
I don't know if it's beside the point, but it's, I think we'll have to choose between your cycle outfits and Mara's croc giblets. Or gibbles.
Giblets? I don't know what they're called.
Whatever.
I choose the cycling outfits.
Yeah. Also, in the programming side of things, we're moving into kind of an in-between. So as the functional strength cycle wraps up next week, we're in week 5. So next week will be week 6. We'll wrap that up. We've got about a 5-week gap. We've kind of mentioned before what our programming stuff looks like coming on the pipeline. And we always talk about cycling on and off heavy lifting. We're going to start to reintroduce a little bit of heavy lifting in the regular WOD classes. There's not going to specifically be an add-on strength course for a few weeks. But we would encourage you to take advantage of your free time where you're just not doing a ton of heavy stuff, because there's a lot of heavy stuff coming down the pipeline. So take this time to kind of take care of your body, recover, prepare yourself for that heavy cycle coming down the pipeline. But also know that we're going to start sprinkling into the regular programming some strength work in terms of ring dips, some bent over rows, and you said Kelly's cooking up what looks like a 20 rep max back squat?
Yeah, the back squat actually starts Friday, so that's 3 days from now. So that'll be a 5-week cycle, kind of starting off this week, and then progressively kind of building on the next 5 weeks up until our next.
So we're giving you something to do.
Yeah.
In the meantime, and I've been pushing for some ring dips because that's something we haven't seen a lot of. It is something that's a little more of a I don't even want to say high skill, but it's a demanding movement. It's tough. But it's one of my favorite movements, so I'm excited to see that. And a bent over row isn't necessarily the sexiest of weight lifts, but it's a very functional movement. And again, one of my favorites, so I was kind of pushing for both those, and it's a nice complement to the ring dip. So look forward to seeing those. Moving into that kind of raw strength cycle after that, which is going to be kind of like the CrossFit Total cycle we ran last year, but a little more focused on still kind of cooking on the details of that, but we're looking at overhead squat, bench press, and power clean. So if you were a football player, you're going to be excited. Love that power clean. You may not be super excited about the overhead squat, but I think that's, for a lot of people, that's just going to be great. So we try to work on snatching all the time, and a lot of folks are kind of in that in-between area where they're a powerful athlete but don't have the greatest overhead mobility, and jumping right into a snatch when they don't have a solid overhead squat can be really tricky. So now's the time to kind of just focus on the overhead squat and get that really dialed in.
Yeah, I think and the overhead squat and the bench press are complementary in maybe the worst way. Like the bench obviously tightens up everything, and you see like strong benchers and they're walking around like gorillas.
Yeah, it's tough to overhead squat.
Yeah, it makes overhead squatting more challenging, but I think the overhead squat complements that in a great way because it keeps the chest and the shoulders opened up and kind of helps prevent them from tightening up, shortening up, and
absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's your programming news. That is your update for the week. Thanks for tuning in as always, and we will see you next time.
Yep. See ya.